The whole meme
Hmm?
with Jamie Foxx's face is. You'll see what I'm talking about. I'm out working this shit right now and
Uh,
shit.
oh man.
But I'm ready.
All right. Yes, once again we are back. That Ain't Rap Podcast. Your host Triborough and Reg.
What's
Subscribe,
the
like,
goodie?
and comment, share, all that good shit. Today we are back with another dope ass conversation. Talking about hip hop concept albums. And I could have sworn we did something like this before, and I guess we didn't, but I was thinking about like doing something like this, and I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of dope hip hop concept albums. Some of them I didn't know was concept albums, but just looking at like a few of them, I'm like, yeah, this is definitely a good topic to talk about and here, get people's opinions and takes on, their concept albums. And some of these albums were dope, some of them were mediocre in my opinion. But I always like concept albums because, like, for that artist, is like it really takes a lot of genius and a lot of artistry to like, make a whole project out of like a dope idea or something that hasn't been done before. And it's something different from like the regular, just dropping a whole bunch of tracks and listening from beginning to end. But when you do a concept album, to me, it's like you got like a storyline. You might have like some characters in that, um, um, I just feel like it means more to the listener when you actually listen to like a album with like a idea, like something that hasn't been done before, and it goes a long way. And I think you know we need to see more concept albums to me, especially for hip hop, where it pushes the needle, and you really have a lot of artists that can show their creative side to the listener than just dropping just a regular album of like a bunch of songs, but really show your creative side as an artist and imagination on what you can bring forth on wax. And I think some of these concept albums are like some of the best. Some of them we talked about in the past, some we haven't. So I had like five, but I mean we can have honorable mention because there's a lot of them on some of them. Like I said, I don't feel like they were really concept albums, but some are like Kanye West, Graduation. Love that album. That is a classic. We talked about that, and I think that's a dope concept album. And Kanye had like that concept of like college dropout, and then he had late registration. He had a graduation. He was supposed to have the fourth one, good ass job, and we never got it. So I don't know if we ever will. But that was a good one. I saw Deltron 3030. That was a good one too. Definitely enjoyed that album with Del and who was I come Master Kirk. Who was on Deltron again with him? It was Del and somebody else.
You said what?
The Deltron 3030 album. It was Del and it wasn't Cut Master Kirk,
Dan
right?
the
Dan the
Dan the
Automator, right.
Automator.
Right. Yeah, that was a good album. Um Ready to Die. I mean, I never felt like Ready to Die was a concept album, but like, I mean, I guess it would be a concept album if you're like talking about like the autobiography of Big and where he came from in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, and the hardships growing up, and him being a drug dealer and then leaving the streets and getting signed as a rap artist to Bad Boy. So yeah, I guess that would be a concept. And then the continuation, like from Suicidal Thoughts, where he like killed himself, and then you got Life After Death, and that was a dope album. I see Mad Villainy on this list, and I don't feel like Mad Villainy was a concept album, but I don't know. Somebody got to explain that to me, how they feel like that's a concept album. But
To white people, Mad Villainy is every hip hop album. It's a gangster rap album. It's a conscious album.
mm,
It's a alternative album. It's a southern album. It's every album. To be
it's
real with
everything, right? I'm like, okay, it's a good album, but it does
Oh,
get
shit.
a lot of it's one of those hipster albums, you know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, I love it, but I don't. I never looked at it like it was a concept album. I don't get it that, but you know, you got not long hot summer. Disposable Arts, Master Ace. That was a great concept album. Even Son of Yvonne. I think Son of Yvonne. I think they had like a story behind it also, if I'm not
To
mistaken.
be, he was the first rapper to really have concept albums. To be real with you,
Right.
dating all the way back to Slaughterhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Well, scratch that. Him and De La Soul, because De La Soul is dead. It was sort of like, well, 3 Feet High and Rising was sort of concept album in a weird way.
Right.
If you
Right.
want to be technical and shit.
Right. Yeah, they had Long Hot Summer also on here. I might have heard that. I think I heard that once though. I had to go back and revisit that. But Disposable Arts, I definitely enjoyed that one. That was a concept album. Yeah, so those are like some of my honorable mention. I mean, there's others, but
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
ready?
I'm gonna say a few honorable mentions myself and shit, cause
Yeah.
like I literally had top 10 in my mind, but fuck it.
Hmm. Right.
Alrighty. Some honorable mentions I want to say.
Hmm.
Shit, it's kind of hard as fuck. Shit, it's hard as fuck. But you know what? I got
Right.
this. I got this. I got this. Little brother, the Mentor Show.
Oh
Um,
yes, that's on my
yeah,
list
yeah,
actually. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Cool Keith, aka Doctor Octagon's,
Hmm.
Doctor Octagonologist and shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Sticky Fingers, the autobiography of Kirk Jones.
Mhm. That's on my list too.
Yeah, yeah, I figured that. So that's why I didn't pick it. Let me stop.
Mhm.
Um, Biggie's Ready to Die. You know,
Yeah.
top 10 hip hop albums of all time, but concept album wise, I still got to throw that in there. Last but
Hmm.
not least, Ghostface Killer 12 Reasons to Die.
I saw that on another list also. Yeah, that was a good album too. I like the love the album cover and all that.
Yeah, that was the closest Wu album that ever went back to the 36 Chambers, in my opinion.
Right? Facts. All right, number five, I got an album that I haven't listened to a lot. I listened to it maybe once or twice, and it's definitely not one of my favorites from this group, but it does have a dope concept and a dope stories. The Roots Undone, and
Underrated.
you think so? Really?
Yeah,
I remember hearing it when it came out. Um, like when was this? Like
2008, I
2011,
think. Yeah, 20.
2011.
Yeah,
I remember hearing it, but to me at that time it was like I felt like the Roots had already fell off musically like that. Like
Mm,
we did a Roots discussion on my channel. Check
yeah,
it out. The Roots whole Roots discography that was great. One of my favorites, and I want to say like there was some albums that Def Jam didn't promote. Like
I
Tipping
agree.
Point was a good album that didn't get promoted. Rising Down was decent. That
I
didn't get no
love that one.
promotion. What's the other one? Uh,
Um,
Game Theory. I like Game Theory too.
ooh, to
That
me
didn't get no promotion.
that was the best one on Def Jam in my opinion.
Yeah, that didn't get no promotion. You know what I'm saying? But I felt like around like Tipping Point is when they started to, and they came out with other shit, but it's like they didn't get promotion for a lot of them. You know
Cause J-
what was it how I shot your cousin or something like that.
yeah, cause Jay Z, that was a Jay Z era.
And right, and what's ironic was Jay Z did the unplugged with the Roots, so you would think you'd be promoting the shit out of them, but it didn't go that way. But I remember hearing this, but it's been years, so I definitely got to go back and revisit this. But the concept was, you know, it chronicles the life and death of Redford Stevens, a fictional character who makes some bad choices in his life and ends up paying the ultimate price for it. And the story is told in reverse. So it begins with his death, and then it works its way back to the beginning of the story, which is so the end of the album is actually the beginning for Redford Stevens, and the beginning of the album is actually the end, if I'm not mistaken. So they did like a little Kendrick Lamar type of thing with Damn. Like it was like that's another concept album.
Right.
Damn, I forgot about Damn, where it was like I remember when that came out, and if you play it people were saying like the best way to play Damn is like in reverse. So you play it from the last song to the beginning. That's the best way to understand that whole story and everything. And it was like I said, like I don't even remember like the joints on here though. I remember hearing it a couple times, once or twice. They got Big Crit on here. They got Dice Raw, Fonte from Little Brother. Um, who else? Greg Porn and Truck North. So they got some features on here. Dice Raw's on a couple of tracks. But I honestly don't remember this album. But I feel like the concept reminded me a lot of Damn. And it's one of those albums, like you said, like it doesn't get mentioned. It's underrated. So I'm definitely gonna go back and listen to this album and check it out. So that's my number 5.
All right. By the way, check the private chat for some words of advice.
Rock is top 5 black sitcom. What? That's a random thought. Okay.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now, and this
Oh, that's
nigga
what it.
already kicking this. Yeah, this nigga's already kicking this shit.
Oh my god.
All right. My number 5
Mm.
is Jay Z's American Gangster, the first Jay Z album in my collection. Believe it or not, one of his
Wow.
best albums, in my
Mm.
opinion, and probably his second underrated album, in my opinion, too. So
Really?
just yeah, his first is Volume
Okay. So
One.
what's the first one? Oh, Volume
Volume
One
One.
is
Yeah.
okay. Nice.
So the thing with this album is not the soundtrack to American Gangster. He claimed he
Mm.
was inspired by the movie and stuff like that too. And so he really
Right.
wrote his own version of it, you know what I'm saying? And he was so serious about this too that he actually took the album off iTunes because he felt like this was one of those albums you have to listen to from front to back to get the
Mm-hmm.
full concept of shit like that.
Right.
This might be so crazy after the years of this channel, but this has some of Jermaine Dupri's best production on this album and stuff too.
Really?
Yeah, some of
That out of all the albums that he's done.
yeah, mind you, he only did like one beat on this album and shit too. Just no. He did 2 beats. He did 2 beats.
He
Success
did
and
two beats.
Fallen.
Mm.
Yeah, some of the and that's saying something. But
Wow.
like, and this album, people want to talk about the Blueprint was soulful as fuck, but American Gangster is really right up there. Like
Mm.
Blue Magic. I remember when that single first came out.
Right.
Loved. I've talked about that in the hype William, but you didn't remember that video and shit like that too. Um, Success with Nas, their best
Hmm.
collaboration in my opinion. Say
Right.
Hello, where DJ Toop did that beat, the best song
Yeah.
on the album. Ignorant Shit with Beanie Siegel, the best collaboration
That
with
was
him
good.
and Beanie in my opinion.
That was good.
Yes, yes, I said it. Fuck it. Like yes, I love that more than Where Have You Been, all that shit.
Right.
You know that, and that was like the last significant. That was the last time Beanie was just Beanie and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But
Right. Facts.
yeah, man, this was just a phenomenal album and stuff like that. I definitely
Mm.
wish this was a soundtrack. Don't get me wrong, American Gangster soundtrack was good and stuff like that too. But if this is the true comeback of Jay Z, in my opinion, Kingdom Come,
Right.
I'm not gonna count that. Kingdom,
Right.
it has
Right.
some heat though. Show me what you got. I love that song to this day, but this was the last. This was what people always say. Oh, I want Reason Without Jay Z. This is what they talking about. This is the shit right
So,
here. I don't want
I
to hear
agree.
that bullshit. Like yeah, 444 is cool and all that, but this is the best album he did after the retirement. Yeah, I said it.
Right.
Fuck out my face. Fuck Blueprint
Oh
3.
my
Fuck
god.
Magna Carta. Fuck
Wow.
I'm gonna say my thoughts on Everything Is Love. I'm gonna say my thoughts on that.
Oh Lord. Oh yeah, we still doing that? We still doing that that
Yeah,
breakdown for
that's
that?
coming this summer. That's
Oh
summer,
Lord.
yeah.
Okay. The next what I got next on my list. The next one for me is Outcast, Speaker Box Love Below. Um I've seen this on lists for like different concept albums, and he's like I feel like Andre's album was more dealing with love and heartache, and Big Boy's album was dealing with more with like war and relationships, and I think that there's definitely two different albums packaged, under one uh project, and you got, Big Boy had like more of the hip hop joints, you know what I'm saying, with like, I like the way she move, and you had ghetto music, you had Bow Tie was dope. Um the war joint, like I mentioned, you had Church, and then Love Below had joints like Prototype, and Vampire Dracula's Wedding, and she lives in my lap. That was more to me like more of like the love, dealing with love and relationships. And I think it was a dope album. Like, and this is album that grew on me because I didn't like Speaker Box, the Speaker Box album when that first came out. I liked the Love Below more, and when we did the review, I think like when we had did the review for this, that's when I had went back and I listened to Speaker Box, and I like it now. And a lot of those joints on the Big Boy album was dope, and I think they're both great. Well, I've always felt like Love Below is a classic anyway, so I think that's a classic album. I think Speaker Box is a solid album. I personally I love So Lucious Left Foot, Son of Chico Dusty. I think that's Big Boy's best solo album, but Speaker Box is definitely dope. And yeah, I think both of these albums were great, and I like the way that they package. I don't have a problem with them packaging it both. I know a lot of people have that issue with, the double. Is it a double album? I'm like, it's a double album of two solo albums packaged under one uh project, as an Outcast project, even though it's not really an Outcast album. So, but I think both of those albums are phenomenal, and it was a dope concept.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. That album kind of grew on me over the years too and shit like
yeah.
that. You know what I'm
Both
saying?
both of them were just Speaker Box.
Both.
Both. Okay.
Hmm.
So
My number four is to me what a lot of people think when it comes to concept albums in hip hop. Prince Paul's or Prince Among Thieves.
yes.
Y- Yes. This is his second studio album. A lot of people think
Mm,
this is the first album, but
right.
the first one was the psych the psychoanalysis, what is it album and shit like that, which is a very weird album. Which it's a very weird album we gotta talk about one day.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to
Yeah.
get the album for years, but it goes for a stupid amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, this concept album. What can you say about a concept album that has people like Kane, Bismarck Key, Sadat X, fucking Everlast, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, Exhibit. This to me is like one of the most star-studded concert albums in hip hop history and shit like that too. So,
Yeah.
and the story it tells a story about this young MC named Tyreek, who's played by Brewin and stuff like that. He
Mm-hmm.
wants to get money for a record deal and stuff too. You know what I'm saying? So his friend introduces him to drug dealing and shit too, but then he gets into a lot of trouble and stuff. It's pretty much like a hood movie and album version of shit too. You know what I'm saying? Um, to me, you know what I'm saying? Um, this to me is how a concert album of hip hop should be. The interludes, not too long and stuff like that.
Right.
Songs are pretty much straight to the point. Like I love Macula's Theory with Kane and
Mm-hmm.
stuff too. Fucking Mr. Large with Chuck Rock. They had this one joint, Handle Your Time, beside that Exhibit and King Creole. And
Right.
I think like when the album came out in the video and stuff like that too, they pretty much I think put all the songs in one video, if I'm not
Mm.
mistaken. It's been years since I've seen it and shit. And
Right.
a little story too. Prince Paul
Mm.
almost got Vanilla Ice on this album, but his manager
What?
actually turned it down. Yeah, I'm not lying. I'm not
Wow.
lying.
Vanilla Ice on a
So
Prince Paul beat?
thank God it didn't happen. But
What the hell? Why would he want Vanilla Ice on it?
I mean, I don't know, shit.
I mean, think about it. Like that could have opened a door for Vanilla Ice to work with other artists. Like if Prince Paul is working with Vanilla Ice, who's to say that Large Pro or somebody else wouldn't work, or De La Soul wouldn't work with him? You know,
True.
say his manager turned it down.
That's when I looked up. Yeah.
How? How do you turn down working with Prince Paul to work to do what?
Cool as
To do
ice.
bullshit? To do
Surreal
bullshit? Like
life.
what?
To the surreal life.
Holy shit! Right? To do that with Brigitte Nielsen and Flavor Flav? Like, come on, that's retarded. I didn't even know that.
Mind you, Chuck D got
Mm,
Flavor Flav to do those VH1 reality shows.
right. Nah,
People
he
forget
made a
about that.
mistake doing it. He made a mistake because
So
that opened the
if it
door for
wasn't for
everybody else loving hip hop and all this shit that we have right now. That's all Flavor Flav fault.
so for what if it wasn't for Public Enemy, we wouldn't have gotten I Love New
Yeah,
York and shit. Just think about that shit.
exactly. Like right, like we
Like
really need to see it. So I'll get our ass on on TV.
like
You know.
Public Enemy gave us Fears of Black Planet, It Takes a Nation of
Mm-hmm.
Millions, and then Flavor of Love.
Mm-hmm.
Think
Right.
let's think about that shit for a minute.
Brothers
think
gonna
about
work it out, huh? Yeah.
it.
Oh man. Wow.
Whew. I mean, I love Public Enemy to this day. I don't, no matter
Mm,
what, but it's just the
yeah.
irony right there and shit.
Right.
Because
Crazy.
Flavor Flav was wild. Because he was just going through
Mm,
money issues that time. He had all them
right.
kids, so
Mm-hmm.
and all
Facts.
them women thought he lived in that mansion and shit.
Oh man. Yo.
They
All
thought he
right.
lived in that mansion.
Facts. All
They
right.
thought
Now
he
we
was
got.
loaded like that. This is my fault. My fault.
Oh man. Okay. Now we got number three for me is 2006 Little Brother, the Minstrel Show, the dope concept album, and these are one of the albums that I had on my list when I was making thinking about doing this type of video. And um great production by Ninth Wonder, great rhymes and songs by Fonte and Big Pooh, Rapper Pooh, highly underrated group. I think it's their best album. The listening was dope. I think that's another album that got way too much overexposure. I think this is clearly their best album, and I remember going to FYE to get this when it came out, and joints like Loving It and Beautiful Morning and what's the joint Not Enough. I love that joint, and it's like the whole concept is like it's like it follows like a fictional television network, UBN, You Black Niggas network, and it's a satire of stereotypical programs and advertisements for African Americans. Many of the skits on this album were, it had like a tongue-in-cheek reference to, black pop culture in the US. And, some of it to me I thought it was offensive at times, to be real with you. And, you know, we talked about, shows on UPN back in the day and WB, CW, that some of those shows were hit and miss for me. But I it also dealt with love and relationships, like Not Enough. That Fonte was talking about stuff he was doing for his lady, and she was she still wasn't happy. He was trying to please her, and she still wasn't. She wanted more, and you know it dealt with that, and joints like Sincerely Yours and Say It Again. I thought it was definitely a dope hip hop album, a dope concept album, and even the like the booklet where they're like dressed up as like I don't even know what what you call it, like it looked like they dressed up as like some janky comedians and shit, and you got like the black
Sambos,
face on, huh?
the sambos and shit.
Right, and you got like the blackface guy on the CD, and it was I think it was like controversial for that, for an album like this, but definitely their best album. It should have been promoted more. They won Atlantic Records, but I don't feel like Atlantic promoted it like they should have. But this is definitely a classic. We need to talk about this album, and yeah, definitely a dope concept album. So
Yeah, definitely indeed.
yeah.
My number three gotta go with Madlib, aka Quasimodo. His first
Yes.
album, The Unseen,
Dope.
one of my favorite albums. Very very different than the Madlib that you guys are used to and shit like that.
Mm,
Um, it's pretty much more of like a psychedelic hip hop album and stuff too.
right.
Um, yeah, man. This is a pretty good album, pretty dope album and shit too. You know what I'm saying? Like this is the kind of album you would play like late at night and stuff like that when you just want to play video games. You just want to play like not like some hardcore hip
Mm,
hop, or just like some alternative kind of hip hop and shit like that too.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like this is the kind of album you would play like a Sega Genesis to. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. Facts.
Um, you got songs like Low Class Conspiracy, 24/7, Phony Game. I mean, so album is just fucking dope. I don't even want to go regional and shit like that, but this is a West Coast album. I don't hear nobody talk about and stuff like that
Facts.
too. But
I
it
agree.
is what it is and shit too. Because I love Madlib, but it's like I feel like in recent times, especially with the shit like he does with Freddie Gibbs, and
Mm,
I like the shit he does with Freddie Gibbs, but it's like
right.
people only know him for that shit. But like I said, I've been following this nigga since like Unseen. Even
Facts.
the champion sound shit he did with Jay Dilla. Yes, I said Jay Dilla and stuff like that too.
Mm,
So that was pretty dope and shit too.
yep.
So
That was dope.
yeah. But yeah, but I always talk
Facts.
about Mad Villainy
Definitely
and
agree with
Freddie
you.
Gibbs, and then that's it.
It's true. They don't know his other stuff. So this man has a lot of shades of blue, like I talked about, and the Beat
Bro,
Conductor instrumental series and all that, and a lot of stuff he's done. You know,
I have to look for
and
that Shades of Blue album, man. Shit.
yeah, you know, what I mean, definitely a dope instrumental album that nobody mentions. It's always about instrumentals and the Dilla out. There was donuts and all that, but I never hear nobody talk about the Madlib instrumental stuff.
What do you think of DJ Shadows introducing?
That was good too. It's been a while since I heard that also, but he's very underrated, very underrated. All right, number where we at? Number two
Two.
for me is this album MF Doom, the Food album, and I love the review that we did for that, and he was cooking while he was reviewing this, and like I like the every track was named after like a food dish. You know, you had beef wrap or wrap snitch knishes or whole cakes, and it was definitely a dope album. I love the album cover with Doom at the table eating cereal, and this was the production was great. The rhyme schemes, and he incorporated like when he would like battle MCs and during in the rhymes, he like compare them to like different food dishes and stuff like that, and definitely a solid project, and it's a classic in my opinion, and one of the best like rap concept albums ever to me. Like definitely, this is like top three my favorite Doom album. Like right there with Operation Doomsday, and right there with Mad Villainy. So definitely love this joint.
Yeah, very dope album. And I love the review we did on it weeks ago and shit
Yes,
too.
that was great, man. I loved it.
hmm Definitely
Definitely
gotta talk about some more Doom in the future and shit.
facts.
All right. Next album I'm gonna talk about my number two, Master Ace Disposable Arts.
Mm,
Yeah, this one right here, like I could have picked a lot of Master Ace albums and shit like that too. But I was so close to
mm,
picking Sitting on Chrome, but I
right.
decided to go with this one and shit like that. For this was like his follow up album he did 6 years after Sitting on Chrome and shit like that.
Mm,
This is a story about a man coming out of prison and stuff like that. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Mm-hmm,
Just how life is. When he came back home and shit, shit ain't the same. You know what I'm saying?
right.
This album has like a very traditional hip hop sound to it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm,
especially in comparison like to the previous two, like because
Right,
like sitting on Chrome, it definitely had that more laid back G funk kind of sound to it,
right,
and even like Slaughterhouse, the one before, it definitely had like a more harder bass heavy G funk sound shit too. So this was
right.
like kind of like a back to the basics to him, you know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
I love songs like Hold You, Take a Walk was dope and stuff like that. He even had a diss track to High and Mighty, Acknowledge, which
Right.
very dope diss track by the way.
Facts.
Um, Enough. I mean, this was a very, very high, probably like my fourth favorite album, man.
Right.
Maybe third one of those albums.
Yep. And
Hmm.
my number one concept album, in my opinion, and that's the best, is Sticky Fingers, Black Trash. Love this album. I love the album cover, and this should have been a movie also. Like I think he dropped the ball with this. Like again, these record labels dropped the ball with these albums. Universal Records should have had a mini movie with this to go with this album because it was phenomenal. It was like listening to a movie on wax, and you had so many different characters in it. X1, rest in peace. That was Sticky Fingers brother. Like he was on a couple joints, and you had Raekwon and Dave Hollister. Eminem it shows up on this album, and a lot of different players and features on this album, and it's like a story of like his Sticky Fingers alter ego Kirk Jones. He's locked up, and he gets released from prison, and then he's like a free man, and he's like trying to get some butt, and then he's like trying to pull off a heist, running from the cops, and gets in all type of trouble, and the production was great, and you had like I love the features he did, the wide joint with X1, and oh my God, where he's like talking to God, and he's like playing
Classic.
that he's playing God, and he's rhyming in another voice, and then he's like it's like basically he's playing two characters on one track, and he's like, Kirk Jones is talking to God, and asking God why this and why that, that was a great track. Definitely should have had a video for that. What if I was white with Eminem, and he talking about the stuff that if he was white that he could get away with, and Eminem is on there with him, and this is like vintage like Marshall Mathers LP Eminem, and you know he had Cannabis on there, and he had I think Rod Digger was on a track, and Dave Hollister, and the product. It was great. Definitely a great cinematic, dope hip hop concept album on wax, and it should have had a mini movie to go with it. And I don't know, like again, this is another album that got overlooked. A lot of people don't talk about this album or they haven't heard it. I remember I remember when we did the review for this, like somebody hit me up because they were like, "Oh, like y'all doing a review for this? I never heard it. How is it?" I'm like, "Yo, this is a dope album. Like, definitely check it out. Like, it's definitely like for Sticky Fingers, going off on his own solo rise, and branching off from Onyx, and he was signed to Aftermath, and that didn't work out, and he went to Universal, and they finally dropped his album in '01, and to drop this album as his first solo debut, it was epic. That and it should have been promoted like that, and they dropped the ball. But this is definitely a classic album, and this was the way to do a concept album. Definitely, like the whole climate of hip hop was changing at that time when you had artists like Nelly dropping, and the South was really making a name for themselves, and you had some dope boom bap on here, and definitely a classic concept album, my favorite concept album out of all of them, and we may never get another concept album like this again. I think he dropped it at the right time. So if he had dropped this in the '90s, I think probably would have did better. But because it was like '01, like 2001, it came out, and the climate of hip hop was changing at that time. It's like it was just overlooked. But that if nobody has never listened to this album, definitely go back and check it out. You will not be disappointed. Every track, all the skits. I like the way he sequenced the album because like it's sequenced like a movie. It's like it goes from scene to scene. So it's like from after the track finishes, it goes right into a skit, and then after the skit is over, it goes right into another the next track, and definitely love the sequencing, and it's great. Definitely love this album. This is the best Sticky Fingers album ever. Like he will never drop another album like this, unless he decides to do a part two for this. I don't think he'll ever drop another album like this again. Like this is his best one. So
I agree.
yeah,
All right, okay. Let me turn my camera on like quick. All right. So my number one is Kendrick Lamar's "Good Kid, Mad City."
yes,
Personally, I believe that is to me his best one, in my personal opinion. I mean,
hmm
conceptually, his best one.
right,
I like what's the one? What's the one? To Pimp a Butterfly. That's my favorite album he's ever done.
yeah,
But like Good Kid, Mad City, just it was just a phenomenal album and stuff too.
right,
And I just love the story that it told. But at the same time, I definitely feel like it definitely added another shift to hip hop as well too.
right,
Especially with just like production,
yeah.
just like the depth of Kendrick Lamar's lyrics. Because you gotta remember at this time, you know, um, we were dealing with like the whole Waka Flocka Flame and shit
So
like
God,
that. We
trash,
were dealing with everybody coming out with dances and shit every 2 seconds and
crazy.
shit too. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying?
Yep.
Then Kendrick came out with this album and stuff too. But then
Mm-hmm.
it is definitely took hip hop on his took hip hop to another level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I definitely love songs like fucking Poetic Justice with Drake. And
Mm-hmm.
that's nothing. Young Money, that was another other thing that was,
Right.
the major force too.
Right.
Mad City with MC8. My
Mm-hmm.
favorite track, Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst.
Love that. Love that.
Yes. The only song I didn't really care for was the real track. You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
wished that, they would have had the recipe replace that track with Dr. Dre, but that's only on the deluxe edition and
Right.
shit too. Which, spoiler alert, I got another copy of Good Kid, Mad City, but I'm gonna keep that under the wraps for right now
Uh
because
oh.
it's actually,
Shit.
but it's actually the
Mm.
one I wanted. I'm gonna explain to you why and shit like that too.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Dope.
So this one right here, this one was a very dope album. To me, the best hip hop album of 2012, in my
Right.
opinion too. So, yes, sir.
Dope. Dope. And that's a great list. And I love the different ones we had on the list and honorable mentions and you know like, comment, and share. Let me know down below like your favorite concept albums or what you thought shouldn't have been on the list or what should have been on the list, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for everybody that watched the Cypress Soul documentary. It's got like over 400 views. I didn't expect that, but like I said, like Cypress Soul has always been one of my favorite groups, and it was great to talk about that documentary. And I guess there's a lot of Cypress Soul fans out there, so just keep watching it. Share that documentary review. It was great to talk about it. So yeah, so definitely this was a great show, and I'll be back with some other shit. When couple maybe next week I got other things that I want to drop on here, but I want to space them out. So I don't want to do it like weekly. Maybe like every other week. We come back.
Okay.
So I want each video to be make sure people watching it and they talking about it and they sharing it. Like the Cypress Soul discussion and the anniversary little vids I do or whatever for albums. So maybe week after next I'll come back and I definitely want to talk about some other stuff. So like, comment, share hip hop concept albums. This was great, Reg. Thank you as always, bro. You know, and we out.
All right. Peace.
Peace.